Good morning, YouTube and TI community worldwide. I trust you're all doing well. Shane Gibbs, targeted individual from the UK. Right, today's going to be a little bit of a different video. I'm actually going to be going over various bits of evidence and information that's going to show you not only the level of corruption here in the UK, but also the connection between that corruption between the Freemasonry or the Freemasons and Kent County Constabulary and members of our beloved UK Parliament. Well, today I'm going to be talking about a MP by the name of Damian Green. He's not only now just an MP, he's also second in command to Theresa May. He's actually the Home Secretary of this country. He's the Home Secretary of the UK, of Britain. Back when I was, today's going to be a little bit of a story time type scenario again, because I'm going to be reading correspondence and emails between myself and the MP Damian Green, who also today was in mainstream news here in the UK under investigation for sexual harassment allegations. This is the second in command of this country under investigation for sexual harassment, as are 40, just under 40 further members of the Conservative Party who are in power in this country are also under investigation for sexual harassment charges brought about by female members of or employees at the Houses of Parliament here in the UK. In previous videos, you'll also remember that I talked about the Westminster paedophile ring investigation that's been going on for over 3 years now. So we've got paedophile ring investigations of MPs. We've got MPs and Home Secretaries under investigation for sexual harassment. And today I'm going to prove to you and show you the connection between not only Freemasonry and the Kent County Constabulary, but also members of our government. So I'm going to be reading quite lengthy emails and correspondence between myself and MP Damian Green, who at the time was the Member of Parliament for Ashford in Kent, which was my hometown, where I was born, where all of this horrendous and crazy crap went on. So yeah, I will start with that. But also, he was also the minister in charge of investigatory powers for the police in the UK. This is MP Damian Green, also now the Home Secretary of the UK. So right, I'll start. This is it's going to be a little bit long-winded because I'm going to be shuffling through, showing you bits of evidence and reading from emails that I'll also flash up and show you on screen. So bear with me, peeps. Oh, it's also my birthday today, 45 today. Woohoo! Survived another year. Right, but as these animals don't take a day off, then I'm not going to take a day off either. So as a birthday present to myself, I'm going to be completing this nice tasty video for you all. And please can I urge anybody that views this video to share this video far and wide, and keep copies and save copies of it for my own protection, which will you'll realise why I say that later on down the road in this video. So here we go, Jackanory time. Well, not Jackanory time, factual time. This is the first email correspondence that I sent to my my local MP for Ashford and Kent, Damian Green, who was also, as I mentioned, who's now the Home Secretary of the UK, and also under investigation for sexual harassment of a member of I think it's some group a few years ago. Good morning, Damian. I wish I were contacting you in a more positive manner, but due to being victimised and persecuted in my hometown for going on nearly 2 years by the very same public servants that take an oath to protect and serve me as a UK-born, English tax-paying man who is trying to make the best of this short life that we live. I feel I must make you aware of my ongoing hate campaign directed at myself, my younger brother Dean Gibbs, and my pet dog Ted, who you all know is now deceased, bless his heart, who has over time been attacked more times than I care to think about, leaving him now with several health issues from unexplained blunt force trauma inflicted on him in his own home, and now also at my mother's home on the Stanhope Estate, where I'm now living as a refugee due to being forced out of my own home by members of my local neighbourhood, aided and abetted by members of Kent Police Force. I've posted a briefing of my horror story on my Facebook page, which is now open for public viewing, and as my MP, I'd appreciate you taking the time to familiarise yourself with my plight, as I'm now looking to nationally open my story to the British public as to make all aware of what is going on. Not only my most unbelievable story, but also what's possibly going on in other communities in the UK. My shocking, almost fatal treatment as a targeted individual, being victimised and community gang-stalked by my own community, is absolutely and totally unacceptable, and most certainly breaches many human and civil rights bestowed on me as a human being living in what's meant to be a civilised world. Question mark, question mark. I will take my story as high as I need to get my story heard, even if it means going to the European courts. I will not hesitate in my pursuit for justice in this shameful, evil victimisation against me and my family. Just to fill you in, these emails I sent back in 2013, 2014. I hope you take the time to look into my ongoing problem I briefly outlined above, and feel some compassion as my MP and also as a fellow human to offer your assistance and help in finding the perpetrators responsible for the inhumane and criminal treatment I continue to be subjected to every minute of every day. I very much look forward to your response and any positive actions you as my MP have the power to implement on my behalf. Kind regards, Shane Gibbs. As you can see there, it says the UK Parliament, blah 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 blah. So it's sent to directly to a Department of Government. Mr. MP Damien Green kindly replied, "Dear Mr. Gibbs, thank you for contacting me. Could you let me have your full address so that I can take this up with the appropriate authorities? I look forward to hearing from you. Yours sincerely, Damien Green." And that was the last I heard of it for a little while. So I then proceeded to send him a second email. And that second email is as follows. Good morning, Damien. I trust this finds you well, and thank you for replying to my email. I hope you took the time to familiarise yourself with my story, which has been posted for public viewing along with pictorial evidence of various types to back up my claims of harassment and being a targeted individual being criminally victimised by his own community, along with the ongoing assistance from Kent Police, who have indeed treated me on a number of occasions like some kind of low-life criminal. Indeed, at one point I was made out to be some kind of crazy individual by not only the very neighbours who were entering my home at will, terrorising and physically attacking a defenceless pet dog and causing huge amounts of destruction to my property. I'm just going to hold there for 1 second. A couple of pictures of destruction. This is just a mere snippet of what I came home to on many occasions. Well, that's a picture of a broken laptop. In the bag, there was all the screws and bolts and bits and pieces that was left laying there on my desk when I returned home from work. Picture of broken, vandalised tiles on the front of my property. Picture of a second corrupted laptop that failed to work and turn on and was absolutely useless. And that after another another break-in and vandalising situation. A picture of only one of many CCTV cameras that when I came home found in pieces and broken and destructed. Now I'll continue with the second email. Defendant's slogan causing huge amounts of destruction to my property. Neighbours from both sides of my home took it on themselves to make independent reports to Ashford Police suggesting I be detained and put under observation for my mental health. Two officers who attended my property on one occasion after I returned home from work to find smashed tiles to the front elevation of my property at 146 Canterbury Road, Kennington, Ashford in Kent, TN 24 9QE, picture attached. I just showed you the picture. Which I repaired the tiles as I had replacements and didn't report it due to obvious reasons. That night, my neighbour, Martin Dorset, you scumbag, absolute scum. If you go back to the early videos, you'll hear about how I mentioned Martin Dorset and his scummy family. Martin Dorset, whom I'd had constant years of problems with him not keeping the maintenance of his fence and guttering in reasonable repair, but also had recently been caught not only by myself but also by some friends of mine in the early hours of the morning, dressed all in black, acting very suspiciously around the front garden area of my home. On this particular evening, the noise and constant triggering of security lights at the rear of my property increased tenfold. So I decided to speak with Martin Scumbag Dorset around midnight, as there was what sounded like a lot of adult voices in his home. I assumed he was up, so knocked on his door to ask him about the smashed tiles. To be basically laughed at, he actually opened the door on a security chain. The coward. Dorset, you're a coward. Your family is scum, mate. To be basically laughed at, and the door slammed in my face. As you can imagine, this wasn't the result I was looking for, but decided to leave it there and went back inside and tried to go to bed. But due to the high level of noise coming from next door, I couldn't sleep. But that wasn't anything I wasn't used to, as this kind of behaviour had been going on for some considerable amount of time. On this occasion, I wrongly made the decision to give him back some of his own treatment, and proceeded to lean out of my bedroom window with the intent of inflicting the same damage to the same tiles on his property that I'd had smashed earlier on that day. As I was in bed, I was undressed, and as I leant out of the window, I slipped and dropped the hammer I was intended to damage Mr. Dorset's tiles with, and it fell, hitting one of the windows below the targeted tiles, smashing the window. I immediately went downstairs and out to explain what had happened, when I didn't even have enough time to get out of my front garden. This is, I'm talking about 10 foot outside the front of the house. To explain blah, 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 the front garden, when I was confronted within seconds of the window break-in by two burly police officers who immediately placed me under arrest in my undressed state of vest and boxer shorts. We all went into my property, where the female officer, she was like a Viking. She was humongous. She's probably the biggest woman I've ever seen in my entire life. She was that big and that dominant. The male police officer was like a cowering, whimpering piece of crap. She was definitely wearing the trousers in that partnership. Where the female officer failed to listen to me when I tried explaining about the ongoing problems with my neighbours, and also about the severe carpal tunnel syndrome I was having acupuncture treatment for at the time. That carpal tunnel had come through boxing and boxing training. You know, I made a mistake and didn't wrap my hands properly. She slammed cuffs on me so hard on my she slammed cuffs so hard on my wrists it almost brought a tear to my eye. She then freely ransacked, and I mean ransacked. She completely and totally ransacked my every room in my property, going through all my personal belongings, going through all of the office, going through bedside cabinets, cupboards, drawers, everywhere. I mean, it went on for what seemed an age. I mean, she literally ransacked my property. She then freely ransacked my property thoroughly for some reason, question mark, and then removed dozens of my personal belongings, which included a torch I used to walk my dog, because I lived in quite it's just an out of town, sort of just outside the town centre, very, very dark of a night time. I used to walk my dog, and various catapults that I'd actually been collecting. It was actually a ornamental collection of catapults that I actually collected, stating that they were dangerous. These items were in constant use to keep the rodent problem in hand that all houses in the neighbourhood had to deal with due to the semi-rural location, but due to my reports being constantly laughed at by Ashford police officers, they too recommended I be detained under observation for over 30 hours, in which time I was assessed by independent psychiatrists who, after interviewing me, reported their findings that I was completely fine and had no mental health issues and absolutely in no way was any threat to myself or anyone else, but was a little paranoid due to the ongoing problems I was going through with my neighbours. I was then released with no charge. No charge of the broken window. Wonder why. Obviously made me with no charge. This obviously made me extremely paranoid, worried, and concerned for me and my pet's dog safety, as now I was aware of the police involvement as well as my neighbours in this individual harassment program I find myself in. I tried reporting my allegations on numerous occasions to the police, where they attended my property on several occasions. Two of those occasions, my 999 calls was reporting intruders who had woke me up in the early hours of the morning. One of those times, as they fled, they left the patio door open and left several female small footprints, female size, I'm gathering that's either that or those blokes with very, very small feet, were clearly visible in I had a very, very deep shag pile carpet going through the living room area. Clearly visible on the carpet. The officer attending was extremely rude when he finally arrived nearly 2 hours after my 999 call and showed no interest in my report of theft by intruders. I mean, they used to steal at will and destruct at will. So seriously, I'm not making this crap up, as you can all probably aware, because it's the same program everywhere. Everybody goes through very, very similar experiences as a targeted individual. For 2 hours, showed no interest in my report of theft by intruders. He searched the house, including the gardens, where one of the damaged CCTV systems I installed was hanging by a wire. I think I mentioned that in a previous video, which he found very amusing for some reason, question mark. I asked about fingerprinting and forensics being done, which he totally dismissed, and then left my property, reporting back that no crime had taken place, question mark, question mark. I have audio recordings to back up my claims of intruders entering my home. One of those recordings was taken whilst I slept in the early hours, which sent a shiver down my spine when I realised what I had managed to record. These recordings have been duplicated and will act as one of the many pieces of evidence I'm compiling for when I submit my case to the UK or, if needed, European courts to pursue my crusade for justice for the inhumane, nasty, vicious and nearly fatal treatment I have been subjected to and continue to be subjected to for far too long. I must apologise for the amount of information above, but this is a pure snippet of how Kent Police have failed me in their duties as police officers, and indeed as they have on many occasions when I needed help, and not the victimisation and treatment I receive and continue to receive from these public servants who take an oath to protect me and my human and civil rights. Their failing to do so is the reason in me writing to you pleading for assistance in this very urgent issue I find myself in. I hope to hear back with your thoughts and comments very soon. Kind regards, Shane Gibbs. Right. I then received I then received an email back from, not from Damien Green this time, but from his personal assistant. Dear Mr. Gibbs, Damien Green has asked me to respond to your email in which you ask for advice on how to make a complaint about the actions of the police. The body which looks into complaints of this kind is the Independent Police Complaints Commission. Details of the complaints procedure can be found at their website at blah 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 blah. I hope this is helpful. Kind regards, Claire Bell, who is Mrs. Claire Bell, caseworker for Right Honourable Sex Pest Freemason Damien Green, Home Secretary of the UK. So I indeed, at that stage, went on and made a official complaint to the IPCC, and the complaint I sent to the IPCC is as follows. You get an online form that you need to fill out. There's no direct correspondence. I sent a this is what I sent to the IPCC, who I wasn't actually aware of is actually the police. So yeah, make of that what you will. I would like to know why my previous complaints have been brushed under the carpet. This is actually a second application to the IPCC. I would like to know why my previous complaints have been brushed under the carpet. My younger brother Dean Gibbs and myself, Shane Gibbs, have been viciously harassed and attacked by police officers from Kent Police for nearly 20 years. I'll go into that in a little while. Where we have both been degraded, humiliated, both physically and mentally in various ways, fabricated allegations, wrongful arrests, etc., etc., etc. Signature, Shane Gibbs. You have to forgive the handwriting. I've got terrible handwriting. Okay. That was it. They then sent me a letter. They sent, I don't know where the correspondence is. They sent me back, but they said that there was nothing that they could do, and nothing that I could do. But they actually sent me back saying that I needed to make a complaint to Kent Police. Right, you're making the connections here. This is basically what this is all about. I'm trying to show you the level of corruption and the connection between Freemasons, Kent Police, and members of the UK Parliament. Right, I then sent Mr. Green another correspondence, confirmation of correct Home Office department. No, this is not after I got that no response from they got a response of contact and complaint to Kent Police about Kent Police. So I was like, oh, I mean, this is going nowhere. So I then sent Mr. Green, Home Secretary of the UK, another email. Good morning, Mr. Green. I trust this email finds you well. I'm contacting. Oh no, this is the wrong one. Dear Damien, I would like to inform you that due to your lack of assistance at my request I made to you informing you of the current victimisation and persecution of myself, my younger brother Dean Gibbs, and my pet dog Ted. As noted in my previous communications, I have taken it on myself to report your failure as my MP to put an end to this shameful actions to number 10 Downing Street. I actually sent a complaint to number 10 Downing Street. Funny enough, I got a confirmation of receiving the complaint, but I had no reply to that complaint from Downing Street, which was then the Prime Minister of this country was David Cameron, also Freemason. Ooh, connections, connections, connections. And then I got a stupid little email from him saying, thank you for your email. I don't know where the actual copy of that is, but it was I don't seem to be fine. Right, so then I've sent him another one back after he sent me a pathetic comment saying, Dear Mr. Green, I'm shocked at your failure to reply to my second email, not my first email. Mr. Green, as I indeed did complain to the department your office suggested when I sent you my first email. The almost humiliating reply I received in response about the persecution and brutality my younger brother and I are being subjected to at the hands of Kent Police, and now there is a very good possibility this targeted harassment is stemming from certain members of the Ashford Lodge of Freemasons. Lodge of the Freemasons has all been posted As I've previously mentioned on my Shane Gibbs from Ashford, Kent Facebook page, have you even taken the time to look? Please see attached picture of my younger brother 3 hours after he was thrown out of a police cell. You'll see how real this persecution actually is. That's the picture I sent him. That's the level of brutality and shameful victimisation and persecution my younger brother received from members of Kent Police. There is the email that I sent to Damien Green that I've just read to you. Blah, 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 blah. That was the last I heard from Damien Green. I had no further correspondence with Damien Green. He never looked into my case like I'd requested as my MP, where I was asking for assistance to help solve the horrendous treatment that myself and my brother Dean and my now deceased dog Ted were receiving from members of the community and members of Kent County Constabulary. So at that stage, I had no option. I knew that I was fighting this battle alone. I knew that the corruption and the level of corruption involved in my persecution and Dean's persecution and Ted's persecution was so high. I was lost at what I could do. So I then started to campaign myself as an individual. I then printed 10,000, there's a few remaining, 10,000 of these, and I proceeded to flyer these all around Ashford and surrounding areas. And basically what this little flyer says, it's a picture of my blessed brother Dean. The text on the flyer goes as follows. Ashford police officers, brutality and persecution of 2 Ashford brothers. The man lying on life support is Dean Gibbs, Army veteran from the Canterbury-based Princess of Wales Royal Regiment, returning home to Ashford with severe combat stress syndrome after serving Queen and Country in Northern Ireland. Police officers from Ashford emptied 6 CS gas canisters on his head and threw him in a police cell to die. Follow Shane Gibbs on Facebook to read the horrendous story of the continued persecution and victimisation against himself and his younger brother and pet dog Ted by Ashford police officers, aided by a vigilante neighbourhood watch type network of people here in our hometown of Ashford in Kent. Now, I had thousands of these, absolutely thousands. Right. I also, in my vehicle, I had this posted up with a A4 picture of Dean laying there on life support. I had it on the back of on the back window of, I had a Land Rover Discovery at the time, TD5, quite a nice vehicle. I had this poster and a picture on each side of the back windows and also at the back on the back window. Ashford police officers, brutality and persecution of 2 Ashford brothers. The man lying on life support. Basically what this is a larger version. So anybody looking at my vehicle, anybody seeing my vehicle can actually read what was going on. Right. And now it starts to get really interesting. 2 or 3 weeks after I had done that fly campaign, I was coming home from a business meeting in Surrey, and this happened. Well, that police car basically pulled out at over 70 miles an hour and I had to slam my brakes on. It was either that or smash into another vehicle at the central reservation of I'm not going to show you the old video because that's evidence that I need to keep for a later date. So as you can see now, I've requested help from my MP, a Freemason of Ashford, Freemason, the Lodge of Ashford, who was a fellow Freemason and a fellow, what do they call themselves, brothers, whatever, of Gerard Brown, the father of the drunken son who attacked me back in 1997 in the nightclub, where they fabricated a story and took me to Crown Court, and I had a trial at Crown Court, which luckily the evidence showed that I was innocent of any wrongdoing, and the judge acquitted me from all charges, stating that if Justin Brown wanted to go around picking fights with people of my caliber and coming off second best, then best not to use the judicial system to gain some kind of revenge. Right. So I've done the fly campaign. So right, let's have a little recap. Confirmation and emails, several emails to and fro from Damien Green, MP, now Home Secretary of the United Kingdom, who is also now under investigation on sexual harassment charges, as in today's mainstream news. That's Damien Green, Home Secretary. I then, after the failure of any help and assistance from Damien Green, telling me to go and report the incidents to the IPCC, which the IPCC then told me to go and report the problems to Kent Police. Are you putting the connections together? Are you making the connections? The level of corruption between Freemasonry, Kent County Constabulary, and members of Parliament, namely Damien Green, Home Secretary of the UK, should, with all that lot, be very, very apparent to you. So effectively I had the issues where I had no help and assistance from Damien Green, and I was literally just laughed at and joked about. Kent Police are an absolute fucking disgrace. You don't deserve to wear a uniform. You're a fake members of Kent Police that were involved in my persecution and what they did to my brother Dean. You should be hung, drawn and quartered in my books. If only it was back then. You're a disgrace, not only to members of your constabulary, you're a disgrace to the British public of this country that you take an oath to protect and serve when you start and when you become an officer of the constabulary. You're an absolute disgrace. Damien Green, you're a disgrace to yourself, now your family. What is your wife thinking? What are your children thinking now that you are on mainstream news with allegations of sexual harassment against a female member of a group? You're a disgrace not only to this country, you're a disgrace to yourself, you're a disgrace to your family, you're a disgrace to Freemasonry, as is Gerard Brown, who has taken it on himself since 1997 in some sick and twisted revenge plot to destroy me and my life. Well, let's move on to the next thing. So I was fouled by Kent County Constabulary. I was fouled by the IPCC. I was fouled by my Member of Parliament. It's just, you know, it's the same again. You know, speaking about all this, bringing all these memories up, you know, the trauma that was inflicted on me back then. Words don't even come close. So I had no joy. I had no help from the MP, who, like I say, lives in Ashford, is a member of the Ashford Freemasonry Lodge, and is also a fellow member of the Freemasonry Lodge and a fellow brother, whatever they call themselves, to Gerard Brown, the man that has instigated this revenge campaign against myself. since 1997, after his drunken waste of space son Justin Brown attacked me in a nightclub and I defended myself and was proved innocent in a court of law, Maidstone Crown Court. The persecution has been persistent, the victimisation has been horrendous and never ending. As you will see throughout the early videos that I've posted up onto my YouTube channel. So I then took it on myself, as I just mentioned. After let me just cover you what happened after that police patrol car did what he did in that video. He then, that police officer, there was two of them, it was a BMW patrol car on the M20 motorway. Right. He then proceeded to blue light me and pulled me over on the hard shoulder of the M20 motorway. Right. I got onto my mobile phone when I stopped my vehicle. I then called and put an open line to my mother and explained what was going on. I then came out of my vehicle and a little short stubby officer with his hand on a taser came walking up to me and asked me, or stated, that he wanted to speak to me, but he didn't want to speak to me on the motorway, and could I follow him and his fellow officer in their patrol car off at the next junction of the motorway, the M20 motorway, which as you can imagine, after knowing what these animals do and what they're capable of, I actually stated, this is my very words to the officer. I asked him if he was stopping me to apologise for his disgraceful driving, but not almost saw me crashing at high speed or at speeds of 70 mile an hour plus on the motorway. And I was assuming that he was stopping me to apologise. He then stated, I need to talk to you. I need to talk to you, but I don't want to talk to you here in front of anybody else that could see. Can you follow me off of the M20 motorway, where I will proceed to talk to you, me and my officer, all the time with his hand on a taser. I had the open line to my mother, and my words to the officer were, I'm actually disgusted at what you just did, and I will be posting this video onto my Facebook profile for everybody to see what you've just done. I said, I will not be following you anywhere. I said, am I under arrest? Which he said no. And I said, so why do you want me to follow you off of the motorway? I said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Mr. Brave Officer of Kent County Constabulary, standing there with your hand on a taser. I was suited and booted. I just come back from a business meeting. Halfway home from Surrey. I said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I said, I'm going to get back in my car, and if you want to speak to me that badly, feel free to follow me back to the property that I'm residing at, back in Ashford. Hence to say, that failed to happen. He actually came off of their patrol car, exited the motorway on the next junction, and they disappeared. I didn't see them again. I then got home and posted that video up onto my Facebook page. Within an hour of that video going up onto my Facebook page, my mobile phone rang. It was a chief inspector, the boss of the two donut officers that just tried to make me have a crash on the M20 motorway. He phoned me on my mobile phone, and this is the conversation that we had. Hello Mr. Gibbs, I'm phoning regarding the video that you have posted onto your Facebook profile. Why were they watching my Facebook profile? Why was they watching everything that I was posting in social media? Maybe because they was nervous? He then proceeded to apologise to me profusely for the poor and disgusting driving of his officer, but also stated that he will not be disciplining that officer because he has put it down to a poor error, human error, and poor judgment by his officer. Now, what would have happened if I'd have followed them two officers off of that motorway? Would I still be here today? I suppose that's a question that I'll never know the answer to. But I literally tell you know, I'm not for. These animals think that they've got more power than they actually believe or they have. He tried to run me off the motorway and then blue lighted me and then asked me to follow him and his officer, trying to intimidate me with his hand on a taser, to follow him off of the motorway at the next junction because he wanted to speak to me. What a dickhead. And if you're watching this, mate, you are a disgrace to that uniform. You don't deserve to be wearing that uniform. The same as all of the other members of Kent County Constabulary that I've mentioned throughout this video are a disgrace to that uniform and should be struck off and prosecuted for what they've been doing and what I can prove they've been doing to me and my younger brother and my deceased dog. You people disgust me. Gerard Brown, Damien Green, Home Secretary of the UK, you're a disgrace to your families. You're a disgrace to Freemasonry. You're a disgrace to the human race of this planet. You disgusting people. Damien Green, what must your wife and your family and your children be going through now after you've now been outed and being put under investigation for sexual harassment? You sick and twisted, disgraceful man. So then, as I've just gone through, I showed you, I went and done all the flyering. I then thousands of flyers everywhere. I was then at the issues with the motorway, as I've just been through and just mentioned. All of these things failed, you know, and luckily I retained my level of sanity, and I suppose at that stage they was a little bit lost as to what they could actually do to me next. So what they actually did to me next was, on the 21st of the 8th 2014, I was picked up in the early 7 o'clock in the morning after walking my dog down the woods, and I had two police officers, both armed with tasers, approach me as I exited the woods with my dog, with Ted, after playing with sticks and stuff like that. And they then proceeded to usher me into an ambulance, saying that I was going with them whether I wanted to or not. They then proceeded to section me under the Mental Health Act on what's called a 136 under the Mental Health Act, and I believe that stands for is a potential risk to himself or to others. I was walking my dog. I was a political prisoner. I hope that you can piece all this together for what I've just been saying to you guys. This level of corruption is going on everywhere, but particularly this is what's happened to me and my family and my now deceased dog. This is the victimization and the persecution that I've received from the establishment of this country, all stemming from Freemasons. Damon Green, member of Ashford Freemasonry Lodge. Gerard Brown, member of Ashford Kent Freemasonry Lodge. Make of that what you will. They then detained me under the Mental Health Act and kept me a political prisoner for nearly 2 months. What other option did they have? So not only have they victimised and persecuted and destroyed my life and Dean's life and now Ted's life, the only way that they could control me and was by making up fabrications and detaining me under the Mental Health Act, which they used to persecute me further. So, Damien Green, Gerard Brown, Kent County Constabulary, members of Parliament, what are you going to do to me next? What's the next case? I've been targeted ever since. It seems like my whole life I've been targeted and victimised, or the majority of my life I've been targeted and victimised and persecuted by, instigated by Freemasons, members of Parliament and police officers of Kent County Constabulary. So happy birthday to me, yeah? What are you going to do to me next? What's next on the agenda for Shane Gibbs? Only time will tell. This information will get out. You animals have given me no choice. Absolutely no choice. There is people. There's all the evidence I've shown you. You know, there's the admission papers. There's the copies of the emails to Damien Green and replies from Damien Green. You know, I've got folders. I've got folders full of it. Absolutely chock-a-block with it. Full of it. So what's your next move, peeps? What are you going to do next? You're a disgrace. You're a disgrace to the human population of this planet. You're a disgrace to the uniforms and the positions of power that you hold. You're a disgrace to Freemasonry, who claim to be a charitable organisation, but in the dark depths of their lodges, they conspire to persecute and victimise innocent members of the British public, i.e. myself, Shane Anthony Thomas Gibbs. So as I stated earlier on in this video, please save copies of this video. Please share this video far and wide, because I'm assuming now, after all of this, I am no doubt going to get some unwanted attention from somewhere or another. And if I do, and when I do, I will document it through my Facebook and through my YouTube channel, Shane Gibbs, Targeted Individual from the UK. So I dare you. What are you going to do next? Are you going to shoot me? Are you going to blow me up? Are you going to poison me again? And what's next on the agenda? What are you going to do next? I don't fear you. You've knocked the fear out right out of me, you idiots. So what's next? So TIs, that gives you a full picture of the level of corruption that I've been confronted with and had to deal with over decades in this civilized country, i.e. United Kingdom. That's what's been going on. And they have failed at every attempt. Every attempt. I don't know. To be honest with you, I really don't know how I've managed to survive this long. But I have. By the grace of something. I've had to deal with all of this. My poor brother Dean has had his life destroyed by these disgusting, disgraceful people. They're a disgrace to not only themselves but to their families and the positions that they hold in officialdom in this country. So OTIs, I'm hopefully I can have a little bit more of a jolly afternoon, seeing as it is my birthday. 45 today. Happy birthday, Shane. Either how I managed to survive another year of this bullshit, I really don't know, but I have. And all that's happening is you just seem to be making me, I seem to be getting stronger, not only physically but mentally. And I'll continue and my pursuit for justice with the evidence that I've shown here, the information that I've accrued over the years, the persecution that has been administered on me, not only myself but also Dean and Ted. And what kind of effect do you think this had on the rest of my family? And the rest of my family have watched all of this pan out. How do you think they feel, knowing that we're being victimised and persecuted and targeted, which originates from Freemasonry? You failed miserably. You're a disgrace to yourselves, your families, and the organisations that you represent. You should be tarred and feathered, you shameful cowards. I'm one man. I'm one man. And I've managed to defeat every attempt and every pathetic event of persecution and victimisation that you've installed into my life. I'm now almost, financially, I'm almost devastated. I've lost my home. The cars, the finances, the champagne lifestyle that I was accustomed to through my own hard work and my own determination through building my own limited company has been decimated. Somebody needs to pay. Somebody needs to address these issues. Somebody needs to answer to this level of persecution in this modern. This is 2017, and this bullshit goes on under the cover of darkness, and is covered over. And we've got MPs, Home Secretaries, Kent County Constabulary inspectors that are covering over for their officers, for their officers' poor, disgusting behaviour. So yeah, that's my birthday present to you all. And I challenge you, bring it on. Bring it on. I don't fear you. I don't fear any of your organisations. Freemasonry, sexual harassment charges, MPs, Home Secretaries, inspectors of constabularies, and you've been very effective, haven't you? You disgusting people. This is how effective you've been. You have failed time and time and time and time again, and you carry on continuing the persecution in ways that I've discussed in previous videos. So where's this going to end? Who knows? God only knows. Maybe that's his name. So I'm going to leave it there. I'll wrap up today and go out and get a bit of fresh air. But the reason that probably the reason that instigated this quite long video that I've just done, just recorded, is sitting there this morning having a bit of toast and a cup of tea, seeing that disgusting pervert Damien Green's face come up on mainstream news about he's under investigation for sexual harassment. So I hope your family are very, very proud of you, Damien Green. I hope your family are very, very proud of you, Gerard Brown. You disgusting little fat dweeble of a man. I hope you're proud of your son as well. Your son's a loser. Always has been. Always will be. a lying piece of shit, just like you. So yeah, what are you gonna do next? What's next? What's next in this horrendous story? Because I don't really give a shit. I don't care. So TIs, that's where my targeting stemmed from. That's what it's all about. That's the reason why I've been making all these videos. That's the reason why I've been courageously. You want to see courage? Come see me. I'll show you courage. Everybody needs to give their story. Everybody needs to start realizing that this harassment and this victimization and this targeting is not acceptable in today's society. The same as sexual harassment, Damien Green, is not acceptable in today's society. And your other fellow member, I wonder how many more of them other 40 MPs that are under investigation for sexual harassment. I wonder how many of them are Freemasons. I wonder how many of the MPs that are under investigation with the Westminster paedophile ring investigation. I wonder how many of them are Freemasons. That's a question. So I'm going to wrap up there. 56 minutes. I think that's I dread to think how long it's going to take to upload to YouTube. But as I mentioned before, you know, please, as soon as this goes up, please save a copy and share it far and wide for my own safety. If anything happens to me in the very near future, then this video is going to be an essential piece of information as to the reasons why something has happened to me. And if it doesn't, then I will continue my pursuit for justice. I will continue crusading and in my quest for the righteousness of the targeted individuals, not only from my brother and myself, but the whole targeted individual community. This needs to be stopped. This level of corruption needs to be made public. We've got Home Secretaries and Members of Parliament that are under investigation for paedophilia and sexual harassment, and Theresa May, the Prime Minister, knew all about it. Where does that leave us, members of the British public? Being guided by paedophiles and sexual predators and Freemasons. You'd think after all this information that I've been putting out through my videos, and especially after the one today, that if they was in their right mind, then that they would open up some kind of communication. Because I'll never stop. What have I got to lose? We've taken it all. My life's, in my opinion, I don't care. I don't care if I die now. I don't care if I die tomorrow. You've knocked the fear right out of me. And I'm still here, in your face. You mongrels. So bring it on. Look forward to it. So, let's go have a bit of lunch somewhere. And try and enjoy the rest of my birthday. Because it's only one day a year. So TIs, remain strong, remain defiant. Never, never, ever give in to these animals. Collect your evidence. Keep your evidence safe. Make your evidence public. Publicise your testimonies. Come out of the TI closet, if you like. Don't live in fear. You have nothing to fear. You really have nothing to fear. The more people that start coming forward and start talking about the level of corruption that they've been confronted with throughout their targeting, the better it's going to be for everyone. Not only in this country, but worldwide. So please, I urge you, be strong. Find the strength inside you. and stand up and start shouting about what is happening to you in your personal circumstances. You've probably all got very, very similar stories of what I've just explained throughout this video. Talk about it, make it public. This has to stop. This level of corruption has to be made public. It's the only way that this is going to stop. So enjoy the rest of your day. I know I will. Like I say, remain defiant, never give up, never give in. Always stay strong. Fight your corner. Never let you keep your guard up all the time. Never give in. Fight this with every ounce of strength that you've got inside you. Find the strength to fight this. And one day, fingers crossed, hopefully, who knows, we may be victorious in justice. Because it can't, what, they're going to do it to the rest of the world? So, TIs, oh my god, just gone over an hour. It's probably my longest matinee so far. Right, I'm off to go and get a bit of lunch. So you take care, TIs. Remain strong, remain defiant, and please save a copy of this video, share this video, get this video out and to as many people as you possibly can. Just in case, who knows? They might try another poisoning, they might try another sectioning, they might try and run me off the motorway again, they might blow me up in the car like they tried to do with an open can of petrol once. Who knows? I really don't care. So you take care, TIs, and look after yourself, look after your families, and take care and keep everyone and everything around you that you hold dear, keep it safe. Don't let these disgusting parasites win. Never give in. So for now, that's it for now, and no doubt I'll get back to you. I've got loads and loads more topics I want to talk about, but today was quite an important one. Not only because it's my birthday, but it's also a great opportunity to get this information out due to the public sexual harassment investigation of our Home Secretary Damien Green. So you take care, and I'll be back in touch with you all again very soon. So bye for now. See you soon.